Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Ryan Brown. How are you today, Ryan?
I'm great, Tracy. How are you?
And Ryan, I really like that we're having an opportunity to speak with you because you're a very well-respected hydroponic expert in the overall cannabis and medicinal marijuana sector. So first and foremost, you are leading GrowPros. Can you tell us a little bit about your mandate?
Yeah, GrowPros' mandate is to be a diversified venture firm. We're looking at investing into many different facets of this rapidly changing and emerging industry.
And of course, you just put out some really big news. They just announced that you've invested in a company that came to you, right? That's got a ready-to-build letter?
Yeah, one of the areas that we're focusing on is applicant producers that are in the late stages of the application process. This company contacted us. They were looking for capital, as well as some restructuring of their internal operations, and we made a deal with them, which in exchange for 10% equity in their company, we would get their business plan fixed up, we would get their business ready for capital investment, and then in turn we introduce them to some private capital that is willing to invest in their project.
And of course, for everyone out there, we're trying to bring investors who might not normally have invested in the medicinal marijuana sector into the Canadian market because we have a very sophisticated infrastructure we're building with the MMPR licensing system. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, right now you've got 14 licensed companies as well as another 7 that are licensed to produce. The industry is growing. The amount of patients registered with the system is increasing tenfold every month. So we see this as being a long-term opportunity for production, distribution, as well as all of the industries that cater to these production facilities for the next year to 2 years.
And of course, you have some top investors on your board of directors, and you have an interesting model, do you not, for seeking acquisitions with revenue?
Yeah, we're really focused on late-stage applicants as well as companies that are generating revenue within the medical cannabis industry or those generating revenue looking at reaching out into the medical cannabis industry.
Of course, we see a market turnaround happening right now, so companies that are leaders like yourself that have revenue are obviously going to be on the forefront of a lot of investors' stock watch. Can you tell us about any of the deals that you currently have in play?
Yeah, well, we're looking at, obviously we're looking at the equipment sector, the lights, all the equipment that goes into these large production facilities, as well as the patient acquisition, and a few interesting technology opportunities that have presented themselves in and around the patient end of the industry, and certain technologies that can help the licensed producers as well as these care clinics manage their patient flow and run more efficient businesses.
Of course, one thing that I do love about GrowPros is how you not only have experience in the hydroponic industry, but you actually have a lot of business experience. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, well, my background, I was a distributor of hydroponic gardening equipment and plant fertilizer in Canada and in the US. For many years, we launched quite a few identifiable brands in the United States market, which gave me a very good overall idea of who's operating, how, and what different techniques are being used in different areas, and watch certain states and certain areas, watch the businesses grow, and so you can take from that experience and apply that to this new Canadian industry. And I think that that's going to be a recipe for long-term success and long-term value for our shareholders.
Well, obviously, in addition to your leadership and management experience, can you tell us what the real advantage is for GrowPros for our shareholders?
I think we're building a reputation as understanding the industry, and companies are coming to us looking for our guidance. So we're going to be able to build equity and build assets within our company without having to spend a lot of our own money, without having to overly dilute our own position, which I think from a shareholder point of view is a good formula.
Speaking of formula, what should we expect perhaps, say, in the next 2 quarters?
Well, we're going to continue pursuing ready-to-build applicants as well as any other joint venture opportunities that present themselves in and around the production, but we're really focusing on the equipment and the service aspect of the industry, providing services, providing equipment, planning at a reduced cost over what the licensed producers are paying right now. And I think that will be a more immediate revenue generating aspect of our business, as well as an entry point to potential joint venture opportunities with licensed and late-stage applicant producers.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.